Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having a great day and that you are all doing well. In the last video, I spoke about the price of Bitcoin falling. We did not have any information at that point why the price might have fallen, and I said I would not be surprised if, because the last two times that we've had Bitcoin's price fall over the last month, it was people, or whales as they call them, those are people who have large amounts of Bitcoin, who were selling off their Bitcoin in an attempt to push the prices down. And lo and behold, as of right now, the information that we do have as to the potential reason why Bitcoin's price might have fallen was that, once again, it might have been manufactured, and that someone or something or some computer or some entity or some rich person who has nothing better to do with their day tried to move and or sell off a large amount of Bitcoin. It says right here, it says, shortly before the sudden drop in Bitcoin's price, a significant amount of Bitcoin was moved to Coinbase's exchange wallet from an unknown wallet. The transaction can be seen right up here. The total amount of 25,000 Bitcoin that were sent at the time of the drop was worth around 215 million US dollars. Obviously, for anyone following the crypto space, it's not the first time fears of price manipulation are emerging following a sharp movement back in April. When Bitcoin surged with more than $1,000 within a day, Reuters reported that the leg up had been caused by nothing more than a single algorithmic order of around 20,000 Bitcoin executed among various exchanges. I think this one was apparently there was a cumulatively, I think it was a $100 million buy order across 3 different cryptocurrency exchanges. So as of right now, this is the news that we seemingly have. It does make a lot of sense for those who are a bit confused or have no idea why that might have caused a price drop. What happens is that what people have realized, especially very large holders of Bitcoin, is that they usually typically want to acquire more. They're usually, you may have 20,000, 25,000 Bitcoin, but you still want a bit more just so you can be richer, whatever the actual case might be. So what they do, and what we figured out, especially over last year, this was a very big event, and a lot of people didn't catch this until around the middle of the year, is that we realized a lot of the price drops that we had were either an accumulation of governments coming forward talking about that they were going to ban cryptocurrencies, ban Bitcoin, regulate it, not allow them, so-and-so, bank ban, whatever have you. The other side of that was also people were just sending cryptocurrencies back and forth. Why is sending cryptocurrencies back and forth an issue? Because one, it's not, but if you send $215 million worth of Bitcoin to a cryptocurrency exchange, people in their mind begin to think, okay, this person is going to sell off. They know something that I don't know, because logically, there's no reason to have $215 million on a cryptocurrency exchange at all. So people fear that this person will sell off, whatever the actual case might be, and therefore the prices of things, cryptocurrencies at large, will end up going down. What usually ends up happening is that these people usually aren't even interested in selling off their cryptocurrencies, or when they do sell it, it's very weird because the price ends up going back up almost immediately after. Either they have a buy order at a lower price when they're trying to sell to, or other buy orders in the market realize that that person has made a mistake, and then that person ends up having less Bitcoin. So what it appears to be right now, like I said, I would not be surprised. We are at a pivotal moment in the history of the world and the cryptocurrency space, where Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have received an enormous amount of attention from governments, from institutions, from banks, from everyday normal people who are buying it around the world to be able to keep their money safe. So I am not surprised, as it becomes more clear to me and many other people around the world, that Bitcoin is probably at some point going to be worth 6 figures, or be a worldwide currency, regardless of the price that it is. It already is in its own right a worldwide currency, as people around the world are trading it 24 hours a day. And that someone or something or some people would be greedy enough to try and smash the price down so that they can acquire 2, 3, 4, 5,000 more Bitcoin. So should the price of Bitcoin 10x from here, and these people end up having $80,000, you then have, you made 2 point something billion dollars from the amount that they were trying to sell. So this is the information that we have right now. It seems the most believable. There's no real reason for anyone to kind of move their money back and forth or to move it onto a cryptocurrency exchange. What usually ends up happening is that these people usually end up taking their money off of cryptocurrency exchanges as well. Or we had a problem in 2018. And then when you talk about actual like manipulation and anti-money laundering and all this other stuff, in 2018, we had a really big problem where people were putting in like fake sell orders. So Let's say I had 50,000 Bitcoin and I put in a sell order for 48,000 Bitcoin, but at a ridiculous price, something that it would never get to, it would never hit. Other people in the market would start to panic and sell off, thinking that I knew something, because for some reason people follow rich people. People think that other rich people know more than them, and they choose to make their money decisions based on this. So if you have a billionaire who has tons of cryptocurrencies, sorry, there we go, who have tons of cryptocurrencies, and you see that they put in a sell order for a massive amount of money, you're going to think they know something, they have insider information, therefore I should also sell off. Everyone also starts to see the buy orders become sell orders, the whole thing becomes red, everyone starts to panic, prices go down. At the moment, Bitcoin's still doing pretty okay. It actually has gone up by $300 since this drop. It's fairly certain, like I said, and I mentioned many other times before, and many other people know that this is true. There's no reason for Bitcoin to be even at the price where it is right now, just based on logic for everything that we have, that we know is going to happen, that we know is happening at this very moment. The people who are using Bitcoin, who are going to be using Bitcoin, it should not be this low. So this may be a last-ditch effort before we end up potentially, no one knows where the prices are going to go, end up seeing a Bitcoin price going a lot higher, people just simply trying to sell, to try and push the prices down to either scare people. Who knows exactly what's going on? But this is the news that we have right now. Here's the actual transaction right here. 25,160 Bitcoin. With 59 confirmations. And yeah, let's move on. This, I think, is actually kind of cool. We spoke about this yesterday. For those who may not have seen the video or were not here yesterday, there was a situation where Binance has a decentralized exchange called the Binance DEX. And they announced, or rather, it was announced, and many people around the world have been going onto their platform, and they saw that there were a list of 29 countries that said, further henceforth, you cannot and will not be allowed to use the Binance decentralized exchange because cryptocurrencies, governments, so and so and so. I spoke about it in the other video, and I said, first of all, the people from Binance have received a lot of flack from governments around the world as far as what they're doing, so I assumed there was something along that line. Luckily, this is why I like Binance. A lot of people don't like Binance. I don't care at all. They're the most, at the moment, at least in my opinion, the most trustworthy exchange. Every single time that something bad or negative happens on their platform, Changpeng Zhao, this guy right here who is the CEO of Binance, he is on it immediately. He lets everyone know exactly what's going on. So without further ado, just to tell you a little bit of a backstory as to what's going on, let's move on. Rather, here we go. Following some confusion over whether the Binance decentralized exchange operates a geo-blocking policy, that is to say, blocking 29 different countries around the world, Changpeng Zhao clarified that as a blockchain, it can't. The uncertainty arose after a pop-up which appeared when accessing the Binance website. A number of countries, including the US. Maybe it was the long list of countries that put people off reading it properly, but it basically said this: we see that you have an IP address from one of these countries. There was 29 different countries, and the US was one of them. It says from the 1st of July, you won't be able to access the wallet interface through Binance.org with such an IP address. Click here for alternatives and solutions. At this point, everyone completely panicked and was like, why are they doing this? Why are they able to do this? The key points to note here were, 1, it's only the wallet interface through Binance.org that can't be accessed. And 2, only if you have an IP address from one of those specified countries. There are 2 notable ways of addressing this issue. Firstly, we will go about using a number of other wallets which support direct trading on Binance's DEX. They are Trust Wallet, Zelcore, Cool Wallet, Math Wallet, Infinito, Coinami, Magnum Wallet, and EliPal. The other option, for those who don't know, is something called a VPN. In fact, as pointed out by Binance head honcho Changpeng Zhao, anyone who is serious about their security online should be using a VPN as a matter of course. He said VPNs are a necessity. It's not his first language. Are a necessity, not optional. This is exactly why, and I can only, I've seen so many people talking about how much they hate Binance, but to be fair, people hate Ether, people hate XRP, people hate Bitcoin, so people will hate things that they simply don't understand, don't want to understand. It's not my job in life to make them understand. Binance has done an incredibly good job nonstop. Every single time that something negative happens, they don't shy away. They let people know exactly what's going on, how you should handle it, and exactly whatever the actual case might be. So as it stands right now, If you want to continue using the Binance decentralized exchange, Changpeng Cao, the head of Binance, has even said you should probably have, or rather you should have a VPN as a necessity. It is not optional, especially realistically if you're in the cryptocurrency space. You should be very wary of things that are happening, tracking, whatever the actual case might be. Anyway, just to clarify exactly what was happening yesterday, I love it. I love that they are very open about what's happening. And especially, I mean, think of the significance of a cryptocurrency exchange owner, creator, starter, telling people to download and use a VPN, which is pretty much something like, think of like a tether or a cord between me and you, as opposed to me trying to contact you and I have to go through 15 different other things. The VPN will connect us directly so that no one else can see exactly what is going on between us. Anyway, love it. Let's move on. Next up, this is talking about the Litecoin Summit 2019. It kind of goes over so-and-so and so. Apparently, some of the speakers who are going to be there are Tim Draper, Whale Panda with Samson Mao, Bitcoin IRA COO Chris Klein, and various other influencers, blah, 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 blah. Bitcoin, Litecoin, so-and-so, XRP. So it says some of the potential mystery announcements. This was also something that I was kind of interested in because I was like, what exactly would they potentially be talking about at this conference? It says, not one major cryptocurrency event goes by without having some key announcements being made as far as Litecoin is concerned. It is rather unclear what users can expect this year round, although it has been relatively quiet regarding Litecoin in the recent month. Yes, we had a lot about Bitcoin, Litecoin at the end of last year. For some reason, beginning of this year, very hush-hush, very quiet. It would appear there are still a lot of developments taking place behind the scenes. Charlie Lee will reveal more regarding confidential transactions through Litecoin, which could hint at what users could expect moving forward. This is probably what I'm most excited about, is that Litecoin, I think the implementation that they were thinking about putting on the Litecoin blockchain would be that you can have obfuscated transactions. That is to say, you can have transactions like with a flick of a switch. You can have your transactions be private or be completely open to that, so you can still use cryptocurrency exchanges. But the idea that we would be able to have confidential transactions with Litecoin is incredible. Based on current conference's agenda, it seems like the Lightning Network and atomic swaps will also get a spotlight. This is also, I'm not so keen on the Lightning Network for Litecoin. It kind of is what it is. I don't really care. I think Litecoin is fast enough, and I think even Litecoin going forward could establish itself as another form of like a store of value. So I don't think Lightning Network is as important for Litecoin. I still think Litecoin is fine. Atomic swaps is something that is coming across a lot of cryptocurrency different places right now. It's the idea that you should be able to not even have to use a cryptocurrency exchange. You're able to simply swap between one cryptocurrency to another on your phone in a matter of seconds. And I assume more will be spoken about that. Both of these aspects are crucial for cryptocurrency as an industry. Thus, it remains to be seen how things will play out in this regard. Ever since the partnerships with these sports celebrities were forged, users have wondered how things would pan out. It seems some more news can be expected in this regard as well. There's also a separate athletes panel, on the second day of the event to look forward to. Why would I feel like I wonder if Litecoin is trying to become a sports coin. They had that thing, what was it, the UFC a couple of months ago. I don't know how well I would feel about, I don't think they would fare very well, especially since we've had other sports teams launching their own cryptocurrencies and crypto collectibles. I mean, do as you will. I feel like Litecoin would establish itself a lot stronger as a secondary store of value so that Bitcoin doesn't have to be completely leaned on. If we end up having a $10 million Bitcoin price, why not have Litecoin at 100,000 as also some sort of a store of value? Anyway, this will be happening, don't see a date, soon? I assume if they're talking about it, it's going to be happening either this week or next week or sometime within June. Hopefully, the price of Litecoin reacts positively to this. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, for those who are not looking at the screen, Justin Sun. So first of all, for those, Warren Buffett is one of the richest people on the planet. He is famed and famous for having acquired, I think it was like 99% of all the wealth that he has after the age of like 40 or 50. So when he got up in age, he became incredibly rich. He's incredibly good with his money. He knows how to make money. I think it's called the Oracle of Omaha. Really rich, so and so and so. Every single year, there is apparently a lunch that you can have with him. by an auction. This year, can you guess who won the auction? It was Justin Sun. And apparently he paid $4.5 million US to have lunch with Warren Buffett. What's interesting here is that Warren Buffett hates cryptocurrencies. He hates Bitcoin. He hates everything about them. So I myself have been trying to figure out why Justin Sun would think that a dinner, a lunch, a meal between him and Warren Buffett would make sense. Why he would want to. I have a strong feeling Justin Sun is probably not going to be able to convince one of the greatest investors in the world to invest in TRON or to start liking Bitcoin. The other thing that I find really weird, and maybe it's just me, is the fact that he would, or anyone on this planet, would spend $4.57 million, or it can be 4.57 million bananas for all I care, to have lunch with Warren Buffett. I get it. He's great. He's awesome. He's rich. He's amazing. Money, money, money. I spoke before about mismanagement of funds with the TRON people. And I mean, this just kind of, this is the icing on the rotten cake. You know what you could do? You know how much it costs to build an app? You know how much it costs to build an app that becomes popular on the Play Store? It's anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000. That's maybe if you're lucky. Even, you know, let's say you have a good $500,000 and you put another $500,000 towards marketing on Instagram and other social media platforms where it may not be as expensive, and you get a good couple 100,000 people onto your thing, you know, word of mouth, what happened, so and so and so. Super huge, super cool app. When the people from TRON bought BitTorrent for $100 million, you know what you can do? You know how much funding? You know what you can... Whatever. $100 million buys you an enormous amount of assets that continue paying you every single month so that you and your cryptocurrency team don't lose any money. The TRON team, I don't know them. They must have billions of dollars behind the scenes that they can so lackadaisically throw this money around. I don't get it. Maybe someone out there can explain it to me. I feel like I'm just never going to get it. I just don't understand. I saw so many different websites talking about TRON coming to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and TRON? Is TRON going to take over Warren Buffett? And I was like, what are they talking about? And I found the actual news that he paid. I realistically, and I will tell you this right now, I don't think I would even spend $100,000 to have lunch with Warren Buffett. I think this money was going to charity. Bless them. I hope it works. If it was 4.5 million going to a really good charity, that's fine. But I have a strong inkling 4.5 million was paid to have lunch with him more than the actual good cause. I assume whenever this lunch is going to happen, we're going to have more news about it. There's never a dull day in the cryptocurrency space. I mean, just realistically, if they don't want it, they can give me $104.5 million right now, and I would probably create one of the largest cryptocurrency communities in the entire world. I don't get it. And people were shocked that TRON's price and BitTorrent's price didn't really move anywhere. And I'm like, had he said that he was going to put $4.5 million into TRON or to build up BitTorrent infrastructure or as some type of a thing to build an app that was going to be built on top of BitTorrent and TRON that would also, I mean, think of the possibilities that you could have had. But as of right now, Justin Sun is going to have a meal with Warren Buffett that he spent $4.5 million on. And yeah, let's move on. So, almost in one fell swoop, this changed my complete opinion on this. For those who don't know, a couple of days ago, Block One, the people who created EOS, announced that they were going to be creating a social media platform called Voice. And I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. I love decentralized applications. I love the idea of being able to and for other people, regardless of who you are, where you're from, to be able to talk freely about what you want, when you want, without any type of censorship or anything like that. It says Block One is going to keep bots off of its social media platform by checking the identity of every single user against a government ID, a source with direct knowledge of the product told CoinDesk. The company intends to have plenty of people to verify as well, the source said, with plans to spend aggressively on marketing. Block One concluded a record $4 billion token sale in June 2018. They said what we're aiming for is a truly self-sustaining economy of thoughts and ideas, where what's good for the platform is good for the user too. One of the main features of the new platform will be the certainty that everyone on it is real. Block One said at Saturday's unveiling, Bloomer told the room it's never been more important to know that who we are interacting with and who we are getting information from is a real person who's accountable for what they share. According to the source, Block One is going to pay for identity verification on every single user, though the precise form these checks will take will vary by country. However, it will require government IDs. This could be a major feature for voice versus networks like Facebook and Twitter, which have been faced significant challenges with bots, disinformation, and abuse. They said with voice, people will realize how spammed out those networks are. At the time, however, identity checks could scare off users who prefer to maintain anonymity and to be extremely privacy conscious, a group well represented in crypto. It's not even, first of all, in life, you should care about your own privacy. This should not be something that you're like, oh, well, now I'll definitely care about it. I have never, according to my knowledge or my mind's memory, been asked for an ID, a government, anything, or a passport, not from MySpace, not from Twitter, and most certainly not from Facebook. I said before that I was going to be using voice. There's not a chance on this planet that I will be giving anyone any form of identification to be able to use a social media site. That is not where my life is going. And I mean, if you're comfortable with that, then by all means, please go for it. I can only imagine what that platform is going to be like. I was very... And I felt like something like this was going to happen. And I can still feel that it's probably going to be a very popular platform. I assume a large amount of their money that they made from their ICO, or that Block One has, is probably going to be pushed into this as well to be able to have like the proper marketing. I mean, like I said, when I read through this the first time, I sat there and was like, well, it was nice while it lasted, because... if you think that Block One is going to be the only platform that's going to launch with a decentralized model that will be a social media platform, you're mistaken. I can only assume that there's going to be one built on top of another layer of Bitcoin. I assume 3 years down the line, XRP will probably also have its own little place. I could even see Telegram, and what's the other one? Kick. I could also see them creating their own social media platforms, something similar to Instagram, where their coin is also integrated. And I'd be more inclined to... I understand the idea behind it. Bots, misinformation, trolls. But that's not the step. In my head, this is not the way to go, because we don't know how far this could go, how deep this could go. If there is a hack... If there isn't anything, we've had hacks on major other platforms before, like really established ones. So imagine if 100,000 people join this platform and then there's a hack, even a 25% hack. Something goes awry, something goes amiss. And 25% of users have their identities known, taken. I don't want to use the word stolen. Stolen. That's 25,000 people who probably wanted to remain anonymous in some sort of way, you know, just to talk to their friends on that platform. And now their passport numbers are taken, their IDs are taken. It's a little weird. I think that they're trying to move in this direction because they probably want to be able to establish something that is very not regulated, but very I I can't find the word. Something in the eye of regulators. You know, not a scam, not a so-and-so. This is definitely real. I get it, but there's a limit. I will continue on my hunt. I still love EOS. I love the cryptocurrency. I love the community and what they do. But this is a no. This is a no from me. Talking about Facebook. Facebook is reportedly in talks with the U.S. Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, or the CFTC, regarding the future of its global coin cryptocurrency. The world's largest social media site, known as Facebook, has reportedly entered into a conversation with the U.S. Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. According to the reports, the chairman of the CFTC, Christopher Giancarlo, said that the conversation is at the very early stage. He pointed out that the goal for these talks is to understand whether Facebook's stablecoin touted global coin will potentially fit within the CFTC's regulatory remit. He said, "We're very interested in understanding it better. We can only act on as an application. We don't have anything in front of us." As Bitcoinist reported, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has also been in talks with officials at the U.S. Treasury, as well as the governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney. The company is also including existing money transfer networks such as Western Union in talks in order to allow people without bank accounts to be able to send money faster. Not going to even read through anymore. Yeah, I assume the talks are happening because, first of all, Facebook is huge. Them launching any type of a cryptocurrency, money, something, payment platform, whatever, is probably going to be large enough that I assume governments around the world are going to ask questions, because I mean, imagine how weird would it be if Facebook this entire time has had a goal of like usurping the US dollar, and with their stablecoin, if it could become more used in the US dollar, how then popular that coin would become, how much more funding they would get, how much more they'd be able to, but whatever. I have my own. I watch too many movies. The point is, there's been a lot of talks with Facebook. To be honest with you, decentralized or undecentralized, whatever, I will not be using global coin. That's not anything that's going to ever touch me or anything that I use or do on a daily basis. Right. Very weird day for the cryptocurrency space. We have some whales. Clarity. At least we understand this a bit more. I'm excited to see what's going to happen at the Litecoin Summit. Millions of dollars to have a lunch. What could he possibly want? First of all, Warren Buffett is like 138 years old. What is Justin's son? What could he possibly think that he's going to formulate into a sentence to be able to get Warren? But like, what is the agenda? What is going to happen there? Not using the voice, I'm so sad. I was all for it. I was so for it, because this was touted as Steam at 2.0. I was so ready for a decentralized social media platform. Maybe there'll be another road where no one's using the voice and they're like, okay, you can use it without an ID. I don't like the idea of having my documentation on a social media platform that could be hacked. It's weird that they would think in a world that we're trying to become more decentralized and more ourselves and get away from government control and rule, that anybody would have you ever uploaded your ID or your passport to Facebook? Have you or any of your friends, has Jack Dorsey sent you a message saying, hey, if you want to post that, upload your passport so we know what's going on? I don't know what's going through their heads. I don't know what they're planning, what they think they're planning, or how this is going to roll out. But I hope they get what they want. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Mechanic, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangelavori, Arthur Yaku, Minting Coins, Jim Gardner, Jeremy the Photographer, Sam Siri, Vaseline, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Cody, RF Dusty, Richie Rich the Third, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Nicholas, One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Clara T, Snowden, Crypnotic, Jeremy, Oh, wrong. Jeffrey Ramsey, Amy Starsheen, Yasha Hadadi, Rai, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Carl Birchenoff, Mohair Maroney, Crypto Joe, Gilboa Snake, Shaolin Fried Rice, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, L. Doug, Brady Niels, Crypto Beer Shipmate, SC Versley, Fine Art, and Professor Wally from Gun, Bot, University. Thank you all very much for your support. At the moment, Bitcoin is recovering slowly, but there's still a recovery. Earlier this morning, Bitcoin was at $7,700 US. It is currently on the screen at $8,049. I assume prices are trying to push back up. I would love if by the end of this day we had an $8,200 Bitcoin. I think we fell from 8,400, 8,500, somewhere around that number. We'll get back up there eventually. Maybe people are just waking up. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I hope that every single one of you enjoyed. Very weird times in the cryptocurrency space. This might also be why EOS fell a lot. Thank you all once again. And I will definitely talk to you all soon. See you.